Khan Academy Powers of 10. We're working on the subtopic multiply and divide by powers of 10. Complete the equations. So 95 times 10 to the third. So the first thing that I'm really going to think about is that 10 to the third is really 1,000. Okay, so it's really 1, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, those are amazing zeros, but you get the idea. So 10 to the third is really 1,000. So I'm doing 95 times 1,000. So that's going to be 95,000. Okay, 10 to the 4 is really going to be 10,000. So I'm just going to add a 0 on here. So 95 times 10 to the 4th is really 10,000. So 95 times 10,000 is going to be 95 with 1, 2, 3, 4 zeros. And then 95 times 10 to the 5th is really going to be 95 times 100,000. So that's going to give me 95 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 zeros. Okay, now a lot of you are going to notice that with 10 to the third, we just added on 3 zeros. With 10 to the 4th, we just added on 4 zeros. With 10 to the 5th, we added on 5 zeros because that's what when we're multiplying by those, that's 100,000 that has 5 zeros. So it fits our plan that we had talked about earlier as well. So 854 times 10 to the third is going to be 854 with 1, 2, 3 zeros. Okay, 854 divided by 10 to the third is going to be a little bit different. So we have our 854, and remember that when we divide, we actually move the decimal to the left. So in 854, our decimal's really hiding out right here. So we're going to divide by 10 to the third, which means we're going to shift that decimal 3 times. 1, 2, 3. So our answer is going to be decimal 854 for that one. Okay, and then again, now we're noticing how many times has that decimal moved. So with 411.92 and then becoming 411,920, that decimal really moved 1 time, 2 times, it really moved 3 times, which means this needs to be 10 to the power of 3 because it moved 3 times. And then 411.92, the decimal actually moved 1, 2 places because now it's back here. So that's going to be 10 to the power of 2. And then right here, that decimal moved from 0.92, it moved 1 time, okay, to after the 9. So that's going to be 10 to the first power. Okay, again, now we're looking at this. Remember the decimals in these numbers, even though you can't see them, they're really kind of peeking out right here, right behind those numbers. So there's still decimals there, even though you can't see them. Divided by 10 to the 2 means we're divided is moving our decimal to the left, and then we're going to move it 2 spaces. So 1, 2. So our new answer is going to be 287.70. And then we have 28770, and that decimal is right here. So we're going to move it 3 times to the left. 1, 2, 3, because it's 10 to the third. So my answer is going to be 28.770. And if I go to the last one, 28770, and then my decimal's right here, and now I have divided by 4. I'm going to move it to the left again, but I'm going to move it 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So my answer would be 2.8770. Arrange the cards below to show the solution to 59.303 times 10 to the 2. So again, before even playing with these cards, I'm just going to write this out so that I can get my answer first. So 59.303, and then if I'm multiplying by 10 to the 2, multiplying means move my decimal to the right, and I'm going to go 2 spaces. So 1, 2. So my new number is going to be 5. Oop. Got to click off of this. 5, 9, 3, 0, 3. But my decimal point was right there. So 5930.3. Complete the equations. So again, just helps me to write it out a little bit so that I can see it. 29.1. And if I'm going to move that decimal timesing it, I'm moving it 3 over to the right. So 1, 2, 3. So there's where my decimal is going to be, but then I have to fill these gaps with zeros. Okay, so my new number is going to be 29.100, and you don't have to include that decimal. Then 29.1 times 10 to the 4th, so that's the same thing, 29.1. I'm going to move it 4 times. So 1, 2, 3, and then I have to move it a 4th time, so I'm going to have to add another 0 on. So 291, 1, 2, 3. And then some of you might notice, well, we're really just adding another 0 on because I'm taking that decimal and shifting it again. So I'm adding a 0 here. So 291, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now some of you might be wondering and saying, well, Mrs. Uren, you said if there was a 3, that there would be 3 zeros. Remember, that only works when my decimal's at the end of the number. Because my decimal was not at the end of the number, that takes one of my slots, one of my place values away. And so that's why I only have 2 zeros here, even though it's times 10 to the 3rd, because of that decimal place right there, because we have a tenths decimal place. Last question, 9.1 times 10 to the 2. So again, 9.1. And if we times it times 10 to the 2, I'm going to move it 2 places. 1, 2. So that's where my decimal is going to go. I have to fill in that gap with a 0. So my answer is going to be 910. And then again, if I have 9.1 and I'm going to divide by 10 to the 2, I have to move it 2 decimal places to the left. So 1, 2. So there's where my decimal is going to be, and I have to fill that gap with my 0. So decimal 091.